Imagine waking each morning to a world where the border between the human and the divine is porous, where every breath, every harvest, every marriage is threaded through stories older than memory. For the ancient Greeks, myth was not mere entertainment or distant legend. It was a living map for daily life, rituals to navigate fate, oracles to translate the god's will, and narratives that taught how to act, how to honor, how to survive. Today we step into that world and follow the ways myth guided ordinary days. A household began not with a checklist, but with ritual. Before stepping outside, a woman might throw a small offering to Hestia, goddess of the hearth, whispering a short prayer. The hearth was the center of the home and the community. Its flame connected family to family, city to city. Neglecting Hestia invited more than spiritual offense. It endangered food, shelter, social standing. These small acts, pouring wine, burning barley, lighting the sacred flame, were not symbolic afterthoughts. They enacted a relationship with deities who expected reciprocity. Myth supplied the language of that reciprocity. The story of Prometheus, who stole fire for humanity and suffered eternal punishment, was a cautionary tale about fire's sacredness and the responsibilities tied to divine gifts. Economy and food production followed similar threads. Farmers consulted seasonal myths as calendars. Festivals like Thesmophoria, dedicated to Demeter and Persephone, aligned with sowing and harvest, embedding agricultural cycles in ritual drama. When Demeter mourned Persephone's descent to the underworld, the Greeks understood the barrenness of winter as a mythic event, a pause in fertility that required rites to coax life back. Rituals became practical techniques, offerings to ensure rain, libations to secure bee fertility, processions to bless fields. These gestures were both faith and agricultural technology, a communal assurance that human labor was partnered with divine favor. Public life was equally saturated. The agora bustled not only with trade, but with petitions and oaths sworn to gods. Legal disputes were settled with appeals to sanctified stories of justice and retribution. Leaders invoked heroic myths to legitimize power. A family claiming descent from Heracles could justify land or status. A city weaving its foundation myth into laws created a shared identity and social cohesion. Victory in war was celebrated through ritual sacrifices, a reciprocal exchange that framed success as granted, not merely conquered. But perhaps the most charged intersection of myth and daily decision-making lay in the oracle. The Pythia at Delphi, the voices of Dodona's oaks, the seeresses of local shrines, these were channels through which myths were read as directives. An oracle's pronouncement was rarely a simple yes or no. It came wrapped in poetic ambiguity, referencing gods and heroes, inviting interpretation. Leaders and ordinary citizens alike presented questions. Should we colonize this land? Will my voyage succeed? Is my marriage fated? The response, interpreted by ritual specialists, guided policies and personal choices. Myths offered frames for interpreting the oracle. A reference to Zeus might signal justice, to Athena, strategy, to Apollo, a need for purification. Rituals also shaped social boundaries. Marriage ceremonies reiterated mythic templates, matches echoing Zeus and Hera, or mortal horse unions recalling centaurs, establishing roles and expectations for husbands, wives, and kin. Mourning rituals enacted underworld myths ensured the dead's safe passage, protecting the living from haunting and ensuring communal stability. Even everyday ethics were myth-informed. Tales of hubris warned against overreaching pride, instructing citizens to temper ambition with reverence. These practices created a society where mythic imagination and pragmatic action were inseparable. Stories taught lessons, rituals reinforced them, oracles translated them into choices. The divine was not aloof, but woven into the warp and weft of daily existence. As we leave that ancient threshold, consider how myths continue to shape us. Our rituals, our civic narratives, the stories we tell to make sense of chance and choice. In ancient Greece, myth was a guidebook, a court of appeal, and a calendar all at once. Respecting the gods was not superstition alone. It was the very grammar of living together in a world that demanded both humility and wonder.